So welcome to my talk, AutoML in the age of large language models, current challenges, future opportunities and risks. As you can see, there are many co-authors involved in that paper, but let's directly dive into this topic. Large language models, as you all know, like ChatGPT, Llama, Mistral and many more have achieved a series of rapid breakthroughs over the past year. That's super amazing. We working more on automated machine learning, thinking about actually what does it mean for automated machine learning. So on the one hand, actually, what role should AutoML play in the age of large language models? How can AutoML support actually that you and others can train their own large language models, right? On the other hand, we're also thinking about how can AutoML benefit from large language models. So it's both sides, right? We have to think about. So let's see a bit some ideas in that direction. First of all, challenges, which means we'd like to apply AutoML to training of large language models. What we need to keep in mind, of course, is that with AutoML, I mean a lot of things like meta-learning, hyperparameter optimization, neural architecture search, and all of these play some kind of a role in different kind of the stages of training a large language model. So the first stage is, of course, the pre-training stage. That's the most expensive one typically, where we have trillions of tokens, you need a huge amount of compute power for a long time. And that means at the same time we can't afford to train hundreds of different models with different kind of hyperparameters and architectures and so on. But we have to think about how to be efficient as possible actually. So how can we use multimodality, how can we use meta-learning, how can we use prior knowledge, and a lot of many more things. Then we have fine-tuning, right? And fine-tuning is more or less consisting of several stages: alignment, instruction tuning, task-specific supervised. You see already there are different kind of things to be considered here. Often it's a bit less expensive or quite a bit less expensive than pre-training, but at the same time, we have to think about many different kind of parts now of your large language models, how to tune them, what is actually important, and how does it actually matter at the end for inference, right? Because that's what we like to achieve. So saying that the user has a new prompt, we like to have a good response to that, what actually is needed at the very beginning to achieve that at the end. There are different kind of things one can think about here now. That is, we have different kind of learning paradigms like self-supervised. We have reinforcement learning maybe involved. We have supervised. That means also that maybe we have different kind of objectives and metrics being involved. We have to train different kind of spaces. So there's a lot of things actually consider. And if you're seeing how AutoML is used these days so far, we also know that actually it's often only used for certain aspects and very rarely actually for such complex, such expensive tasks. And that's what the AutoML community has now to address, has to find solutions for. On the other hand, opportunities, that goes now a bit from the other direction. So saying that you would like to apply large language models to AutoML because it's also very exciting for us. So first of all, we can think about that maybe large language models could be used as some kind of an interface that we enable human-machine interaction. So that we maybe have a large language model where we can talk to and it states actually how we can then use an AutoML tool in the background. So it's maybe very obvious, but a very nice thing to do. Nevertheless, human-machine interaction might be complicated, proper prompt engineering is maybe required, and many other things actually that we can understand actually for different kind of stakeholders and users what is needed. On the other hand, we could also use large language models with all its awesome knowledge, its encoding already. Yes, it's a very powerful meta model learned on human text to configure AutoML frameworks. Of course, it's also not easy then, for example, for evaluation. There could be data snooping being involved, so we don't know actually what kind of training data the large language model has already seen. There could be some hallucination and trust problems with that. So also here we have to consider a lot of future opportunities which might then enable much better AutoML systems. Of course, we could also bring large language model very deeply into the AutoML system itself. We can think about maybe using large language models to propose solutions, to modify acquisition functions, build surrogate models, and so on and so on. So everything which can be changed in an AutoML system, maybe a large language model could be also be included there to provide knowledge on a meta level. But at the same time, we have to think about, okay, including large language models is always a bit resource intense. So we have to think about, is it worth it? What kind of scenarios are we using it? What does it mean in practice? So that's a summary. Large language models bring challenges, opportunities, and risks to the AutoML researchers. At the same time, of course, also to large language models researchers and the entire AI community. And it has a lot of different kind of aspects and challenges, opportunities we have to tackle simply that we can bring large language models and AutoML to the next level. Thank you very much.